It has just been discovered that the indie game Only Up has been removed from Steam. Now, if you remember, I made a video back in June about how this game was taken down due to copyright infringement allegations. I guess there were some 3D models in the game that people were alleging were copyright infringement because it was stealing from other games. So Steam removed it temporarily, and in July it was put back up on Steam due to the creator basically patching it and making sure that there was no copyright infringement. But now, a couple months later, it has been removed again, but this time it was actually by the creator themselves. I'll say themselves because it is still up in the air who actually made this game. Their online alias is SCKR Games, but it is unknown other than that information about this person. So whoever they are, SCKR Games, the creator of the game, expressed a need for peace of mind and healing in light of the stress caused by kind of a slew of different things, one being the whole copyright infringement claims from a couple months ago, and then I guess the other one being, I guess, kind of a sort of a controversy surrounding the promotion of NFTs. So in a Steam update, SCKR Games, a first-time solo developer, explained the decision, acknowledging their inexperience in game development and the stress the project had brought them. They stated that the game had kept them under a lot of stress over the past few months that it has been out, and they said, quote, "Now I want to put the game behind me, and yes, the game won't be available in the Steam store soon. That's what I decided myself," end quote. And yes, the game has now been delisted and its name changed to not available. Now remember, Only Up gained massive popularity on Twitch, and if you've seen any clips of it, you know exactly why. It was a very cool game to watch. It was very challenging in its gameplay, where players assumed the role of a person basically climbing elaborate mazes of like pipes and structures that kind of made no sense, that were just kind of floating in the air, and the lack of a save feature meant starting over upon falling, which only added to its difficulty. Kind of like the game Getting Over It, only 3D. But yeah, I think this is very interesting. So this is only the second time that I have ever heard of a situation like this, you know, a creator removing their own game from being purchasable due to it causing them a lot of stress. The only other time this has happened that I remember was actually about 10 years ago now, with the game Flappy Bird. That's right, it was a very big hit. It came out about 10 years ago. In May of 2013, it was just a gigantic hit, and less than a year later, the game's creator removed it from the App Store because he felt guilty over the game being like super addictive. And I think the dude had like became a millionaire over it, and it would have just kept going and going. I mean, this was at like the peak of its popularity, and he removed it just because he felt guilty. He felt stressed about the whole situation. It was just kind of a lot for him to take on. He was just kind of a one-time hit, I guess. Like, he was just a totally normal person. He wasn't like an Activision or like a Rockstar Games head or, you know, anything like that. Like, this was just like an average Joe. He even said he was earning $50,000 a day from Flappy Bird. Oh my god. Yeah, I'm just like looking it up again. I always like go back to this story like maybe once every year or two, just like for my own like reading, just because it's such an interesting story. But yeah, I digress. A very unique story with Flappy Bird, and that is just what it reminds me of. Like I said, that is the only similar situation I can ever think of. It's not very common that somebody who is doing very good, whose game turns out to be wildly successful, it's not often that they themselves decide to just delete it and make it inaccessible to purchases. And in both situations, with Only Up and with Flappy Bird, it kind of involves the person, I don't know, being humble, kind of being down to earth, you know, saying, hey, you know, this is getting me a lot of money, but at the end of the day, you know, it's better for my mental health to just kind of get rid of it and put it behind me. There is something that is very down to earth and, you know, very cool about that. But at the same time, man, I really hope that this person, the creator of Only Up, has really thought this over, because this really was a very successful game. Probably getting them a lot of money. But I definitely respect their decision, and SCKR Games intends to return with a new project titled Kith, Kith. They stated they plan to take a pause, continue their education in game design, and work with a small team on this new project, which apparently will have a different genre and setting and focus on cinematography. And I've looked it up, and I can't really find like anything about this game, this Kith game that is in development. So right now, it seems like it is a very early project, but I wish SCKR Games all the best. For those of you that have Only Up, you know, definitely keep it. Don't delete it, okay? It's kind kind of like a gem at this point, since you can't buy it anymore. Kind of like it's like a rare commodity, I guess. It actually kind of reminds me of, I hate to go back to the whole Flappy Bird thing, but, when that guy deleted Flappy Bird, it was kind of funny because then, obviously you couldn't download Flappy Bird anymore. And people just basically kept the app. I actually can't remember if, like, they had to turn off, like, their Wi-Fi or something so that, like, it didn't update and then, like, delete the app. I can't remember. I even remember, like, people selling, like, iPhones and iPod Touches that had Flappy Bird on it, and they kind of sold for, like, kind of a high price, literally because the app was on that device. But anyway, once again, I digress. Only Up, great game. It was definitely a hit. I'm sorry to see it go. Hopefully this next game, Kith, is just as awesome. And SCKR Games, whoever you are, at the end of the day, though it might not have been what I would have done, I also definitely understand and very much respect the decision to focus on your own mental health. That is definitely a good lesson, a good takeaway from the story.